Hello, study mums. Today I have the pleasure of chatting to obstetrician, gynecologist, author, and public speaker, Dr. Diana Hoppe, in regards to her book, Healthy Sex Drive, Healthy You. A warm welcome to Dr. Diana Hoppe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, you have quite a unique and holistic way of looking at women's issues, and you deal with a full range of them, from hormone imbalance, weight loss, depression, anxiety, and even how to improve your sex drive, which is what your book is all about. What motivated you to help women in particular with all of these issues, and what made you choose to be an obstetrician and a gynecologist?
Yeah, the real reason is I love taking care of women through their lifetime. So it's so nice to be able to deliver a child and then see that child grow, and then you have the mother, the grandmother, and it's really nice to have that continuity and be able to follow a woman through her lifetime and have so much impact on her life. And part of the reason I wrote the book was because I was doing research on decreased sex drive. So that's what spurred me on to write the book, because I was in a clinical trial as an investigator looking at a new drug that they're looking at. Now it's been approved by the FDA. It's now the ADI. And so I was one of the principal investigators for that trial, and it was just amazing to me what I heard from these women. And I said, I don't think there's any book about this out there. So I checked out Barnes & Noble, our basic, and Amazon, and realized that there wasn't. So I felt like, okay, that's my next mission, is to write the book. So that got published in 2010.
Right. So this was something that women were coming to you and having a problem with.
Right. So basically they were coming in saying, I don't really care about sex anymore. I'm tired. The last thing I really want to do is have sex when I've worked all day, take care of the kids, and that's the last thing on my list that I want to do.
Yeah, and exactly. And I find that women especially, we have high expectations of everything, like we can do everything right, and we're still able to go and perform in the bedroom, like, even after we've had this amazingly long day. Exactly. So tell us a little bit more about your book, Healthy Sex Drive, Healthy You. So
yeah,
there's more health benefits to having a healthy sex life.
So this is what the cover looks like, so that people can see that. I don't know if you can see that okay.
Yep.
All right, you see that? I don't know if I can get it better. So that's the cover. And the book actually is in lots of different segments because it talks about all the factors that are involved in a woman's sex drive. So it's, as you know, and I think as all the listeners know, women are different than men, and especially when it comes to sex drive. And so I needed to make it understandable that a woman's sex drive is very fluctuating. It's not something that is a consistently high thing. And it can fluctuate with the cycle, the monthly cycle. It can fluctuate after a baby, perimenopause, menopause, so many different changes that occur in a woman's life. And then there's also other factors like medications that a woman might be on. You mentioned about doing everything and being like a superwoman, multitasking, another thing that, we just feel like we can do everything, and we really can. And that's like one of the major stressors, is just life being 24/7. And when do you find time for yourself, much less for your partner, and having that intimacy?
Yeah, because I think it's something that you don't really think about as an issue that you can go ahead and maybe look at and try and fix. I think you just kind of go, I'm just too tired for it, and I'll get around to it when I can. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just tired.
Right, and that's why part of the reason I wrote the book is that so women were kind of getting down on themselves, saying, what's wrong with me? I don't even have a desire. I'd rather sleep. Well, it's because they're so tired. And that's when part of the reason I love being an OBGYN, and I don't do babies anymore, so I just do the GYN aspect, is that I really can help women, empower them to kind of take care of themselves. And I think your moms, you as yourself as a mom, and you really need some time for yourself. And I know it's hard to do that, but it's really critical. And just to have some downtime, maybe some silence, maybe some relaxation. Because if you don't take care of yourself, no one will. And that's really where, I know it seems so simple, but it's something that a lot of women need to hear. And I think sometimes coming from a doctor saying, you really need to have some time in your schedule where you take care of yourself. You go for a massage or a facial, or go to that yoga class, or do the meditation, pamper yourself a little bit, because if you don't, it's not going to happen in your schedule.
Yeah, exactly right. And you talk about there's a lot of benefits to having a healthy sex life, basically. It's not just having that nice intimate relationship with your partner where you feel connected, but there's actual physical things going on for us if we are able to, get to that stage.
Right. And that's why I think sometimes if you don't get stressed out about not having enough sex, that's okay. Like that's a normal thing. And there are a lot of benefits to actually having a nice, stable, steady relationship with your partner. And I think the partner also has to understand that a woman has changes during her cycle, and that there are a lot of hormonal changes with perimenopause and menopause. And so some of it's also just communication and almost like education, because a lot of men, I'm not saying globally, but many do not know what's happening during a woman's cycle, when she might get more irritable, PMS, etc. And then especially with perimenopause and menopause, So I'm actually making a new site that's going to be launched in April, May. That's going to be specifically for women. It's called Amazing Over 40, and it's all about the changes that are happening and explaining and educating women about all these aspects of things.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Back to your question about what it helps with, what's amazing, it helps with immune system. You're going to hopefully sleep better. You have better connection with your partner, which releases endorphins. So there's a lot of things that makes the brain, because it's kind of like exercise in some ways, so it stimulates the brain. And it's just sometimes also a good release, and women really want to connect. The whole goal most of the time with sex is to be connecting to your partner and have intimacy. Men, that may be an aspect, but it's really more the physical kind of drive where they're coming from.
Yeah, it's kind of, it is a little bit more complicated for us women, isn't it? There isn't a switch where you just go, okay, the kids are in bed, done the dinner, I've done the dishes, flick, let's go, baby. Like, it doesn't quite work.
That's exactly right, Susie. And what's funny, in the book, I talk about women being a complex control panel. There's knobs, there's dials, there's scales, there's a little fine tuning. And men can be more equated to like a light switch, right? And they're pretty much on off. But a woman is much more complicated. And that's why I wrote the book also for men to read. So if a woman buys it, have her partner, her husband read it, because I think that would help both sexes to kind of say, oh, that's why, you're not as focused as I am in the bedroom, because you're thinking about X, Y, Z, right? Which you don't really mean to be doing, but it's just because your brain is just thinking about, where multiple things, let's just say.
And that's where the communication part comes in, isn't it? Where you actually try and explain what's happening for you as a woman in the bedroom and what you need.
Right.
Not all couples are going to be comfortable to do that straight away. So is there some steps that they can take to maybe ease into that, apart from just shoving a book at someone and said, read this, this is what I need?
It's more like once you've established and you're kind of going through some issues and you want to kind of, realize that this is nothing that's abnormal. This is actually totally normal. And I hear every day about women saying, I could care less about having sex. I'm just, so overwhelmed and so stressed out. So I think the first thing is to look at your life and say, like, what are your stressors and what are the things that are making you happy and what isn't? And then really taking care of yourself and saying, what can I do to get more time for myself and to have more time with my partner and not be as stressed? So like a simple step might be like one weekend of the month to go away, have a getaway, or one Saturday night plan to actually go somewhere or do something fun. And maybe even just like a daytime picnic or something. I mean, it could be a walk in the park or on the beach. Just plan something with your partner so you can kind of reconnect, because I find that a lot of women distance themselves as they start feeling more and more stressed, and the men say what's going on, and they then might get angry. It might cause some discord. So I think the communication can just be a woman saying to her partner, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. I need help. I need you to help me with this and this. And men, in general, if you tell them what you want them to do and you need them to do, they're going to be willing to do it. Sometimes they just don't know it. And we as women think, well, doesn't it look like completely obvious to you that the dishes need to be done, or that it needs to be vacuumed, or we need to go shopping? But sometimes men aren't as prone to those signals and the visual cues. So if you say, honey, I need for you to go to the market and pick up, milk, eggs, and something for dinner. And you maybe even tell them what to get for dinner.
Might be a bit more specific.
So the more specific and the more you can make it concise, the more the man's going to understand. And in general, most men are going to try to help. They want to make your life easier. And I think women, when we start seeing that our men are helping us in the house and taking care of the kids, maybe taking to soccer, whatever their playthings are, we start saying, gosh, isn't that nice that he did that? And that's helping me. And then just kind of like stimulates the kind of connection that you're saying, well, maybe, maybe later tonight I might be interested, but who knows, at least it's getting a little closer to the possibility.
And men can pick up on this, right? Because they have caught on to the shoulder massage and the neck massage and the body massage. So they know that gets them somewhere. So once they click onto doing the dishes and a bit of vacuuming and a bit of shopping, they'll be set.
That is, I mean, I think women sometimes, if a man starts doing the massage, they're like, oh God, now he wants sex, right? Versus if he started doing the dishes, you're like, oh, that's really nice. Or he started making cooking dinner and he gets you a glass of wine and puts a bath for you or something. That's more, so if men can understand that rather than saying, oh, if I give her a massage in the back for 2 minutes, then I'm going to get her all, riled up.
Yeah. Mixing it up a bit is a good idea.
Mixing it up, exactly.
Now, I had a question because I thought, as we're talking about this and we're talking about getting the energy to be more emotionally and physically available in the bedroom, but before children, obviously a lot of people are going to have a different type of sexual relationship in the bedroom. Now, after children, do you think that we still hold like a more of a high expectation of what our performance should be and what sex should be in the bedroom? And that's what, do you think the thought of it is just like, God.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think a lot of women put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect. They have to be the perfect mom. They have to be the perfect wife. They have to be the perfect worker at their job, let's say. Whatever they're doing, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. And that's in part of the book, I talk about delegation. You got to delegate things and you got to give some things away. And some things you might need to get rid of. Like if you really don't have to be the head of the PTA, like which is what school we have. Yeah. And if you can't volunteer every day in the classes, that's okay. And you don't have to do every activity for the children. I see a lot of moms getting completely overwhelmed with taking the kids to all these activities. And I'm not even sure if the kids really want to do all those activities, So they have to do like they go to the soccer and then they go to gymnastics and then they go to the horse play. And you're just like, you know what, you're more than a chauffeur. You're basically going out of control. Yeah. So ask your children, what do you really want to do? Like, which of these is your favorite? And then let's just do that activity. Because I think we tend to think we can put it all into this kind of plan and make it all work when it's kind of like, then you wonder why you're running around with your head cut off. Right. And you're kind of like an airplane, an airport, when they navigate what planes come in or not, the controllers, and you just can't do that much. I mean, you're going to get overwhelmed, and the kids will sense that, and your partner will sense that. And then that kind of makes the whole family unit more unstable, because we know, like, when the queen is happy, the kingdom is happy, right? Exactly. And the house is happy.
Exactly. So basically, we don't have to have this big elaborate setup. We don't have to rose petals on the bed and candles burning and all these kinds of things. We can basically go into the bedroom and really simplify a connection and just be together. It doesn't have to last for hours.
Exactly. It can be whatever you and your partner need at that time, but it doesn't have to be this big thing that, oh my gosh, there's pressure, now I got this to do too. It's more like maybe just light a little candle, and that's its own little kind of like, that's a romance in itself. Or put some certain oils, essential oils can be kind of cool. Just things like that. Little things that can make the senses more attuned, and that might get you more connected to your partner.
Right. And you talk about having that heart-to-heart communication. And there's 8 skills to revive that communication. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, I'm going to actually go to my part in the book so I can make sure I cover all 8 that you would do here.
No worries.
Yeah, so heart-to-heart communication. And part of it is first just being really honest, too. I mean, like you said, sometimes in your newer relationship, it might be a little vulnerable, but, honesty is always the best to do, to say, this is where I am right now, and this is what's happening to my body, or my brain is completely, I'm so tired, I can barely think, and the last thing I could do right now is really have sex. And then these are things you can help me with, right? So kind of go with the delegation things we were talking about. Yeah. So the first I mentioned is that make time to talk. So when you're talking about sex and your drive and things, don't do it in the bedroom when he wants to be having sex. So make it a time where it's separate, and it might be when you're going out for a cup of coffee, or you're somewhere that you're comfortable speaking about this, and have the time. There's no rush in that. And so that you can kind of just say, this is what's going on, and I think I'm a little bit less in sex right now because I'm just, all the different things that are going on. And I think that really helps, just because sometimes I think if we don't talk about it, our partners think, well, they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like they have done something wrong, and then what I do, and you know, they're in the doghouse and they don't know why when they're really not, but we just have to tell them what's going on. So I think communication for men, really for both of us, but to tell your partner this is what's happening and it's not necessarily you, but these are things that you might be able to help me with and we can do together to make it better. Grow your communication skills. Basically what we've been saying is, you know, read articles about communication, and with men, I think I mentioned about this too, is make it very concise. Don't go into an elaborate story about what happened that day and da-da-da. You're going to lose them because they want what they need to do. So if you say, you know, I had a really busy day and tomorrow I really need your help with picking up the groceries. And I want you to pick up this list. I'm going to give you the list. And that's going to really help me and it's going to save me. And a lot of men want to be like saviors. They want to be helping. They want to make your life easier, but they don't know how. So being very concise and not putting a lot of too many details, just very simple. Yeah. And I'm not trying to sound like men aren't intelligent. It's just that their brains are like more like triggers.
Absolutely, they're wired differently.
Wired completely different. We can talk about, you know, we went here today and this is what I wore, and then we went to the coffee shop and then back to the store, and you know, we can do this. And men are going to say, you know, I can't even follow what you said. So it's really kind of funny. It is really funny. So really be concise and also be an active listener. So when your partner says something, say, you know, I hear that you're telling me or you're saying that, you know, you're feeling left out and I'm not taking care of you and I don't have the desire for you. So really kind of be an active listener. And that's when one person speaks at a time. You're not speaking over each other. And sometimes you can even have like a talking stick or you can even have the glass of water. But something that says, okay, if I have the glass of water, I'm talking. When you have the glass of water, you're talking. So it kind of puts kind of like some boundaries and really so that you're not thinking what you're going to say already before that person is done talking. So it's really to focus on what that person is saying and be heard. And I mentioned to focus on one point at a time, only one if possible with a man. Keep it short and simple, very concise. Avoid accusations and I statements. So, and you, like, you never pay attention to me, or say that, like, I feel this way when this happens. Not that you've done this thing that's horrible and now this is why I'm punishing you or something. So say more like, I feel upset because, or I would need or would like you to help me with this. So make it more from an I statement and less accusatory. Anyway. And then we all want positive encouragement. But I think men really want from their women, they want to be known that they're actually they're making you happy. They want you to be happy. So if they know that they're doing a good job, they're most likely going to repeat that behavior, right? Yeah. So if you say, gosh, thanks so much for doing the dishes, that helped me out so much, and you know, and then they're going to say, oh, okay, then maybe I'll start doing it more, you know, if they actually are seeing how you're reacting to it. So encouragement, we all love to have positive feedback and just basically giving good, happy thoughts and gratitude for what they've done, right? I'm so grateful that you did this for me today, right? And be appreciative because, you know, we all want to live with an attitude of gratitude, but we rarely say it, let's say, to our partners.
And then I was going to say, it is funny with that point is that women really do count all the little tiny things and, you know, they all add up, whereas men think they have to go out and do one big thing, you know, and we're going to notice that. But usually they go to all that effort and we're like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that much to me.
Exactly. And that's a really, really good point because I think if we could tell our partners, you know, if you just did, you know, as I said, the dishes twice a week and you went to get the groceries once a week and that would be way more to me than buying me a new vacuum cleaner. I mean, you know, they sometimes think that they have to get material things for you when it's really things that they can help you with time, you know? And so that's why you kind of change the shift and say, I don't need a brand new car. I don't care about that. What I want is us to have some time together and not me running around with the kids and feeling with my head cut off. Yeah. So I think that your point is a great one. And I think men sometimes think they have to have this huge thing they're going to do and like surprise you with this big thing when it's like, maybe if you just leave a little note saying, I love you, honey, or gosh, thanks so much. And also women, leaving a note for your partner or your husband, you know, I love that you kissed me this morning. All right, I love that you did this for me. Whatever, it's kind of appreciating them, but with little things. And those are the things over time that really add up to a huge effect. And sometimes telling your partner, or just showing, like maybe making a note, and then he feels good. Then he might think, oh, maybe I'll leave her a little note, or bring a flower home today for her, or something that that you want that he's going to do for you. And it just kind of like, again, the little things make a huge difference. And the last point, number 8, was nonverbal cues. Women in general are much better at picking up visual cues. And so, like, if we do a certain body motion, most times we might take it as like, oh my gosh, they're really upset, something's wrong. And men don't pick up on that as much. So it's really important to be like in an open posture, be using your hands and being, engaging, and don't come from like the standpoint of cross your legs, everything. And, men are going to say, what's going on? But I want to bring back your point, because it's really a cool one about we as women, we remember every little detail. Okay. And sometimes that's a detriment, because we're going to say, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. And we have a list, 20 some things that they didn't do. Right. And we kind of keep that tracking sheet kind of going. And men don't like that at all. And it's not that we're trying to do that, but we just have that ability to remember little details like that. So I think as women, maybe we can let some of those go, and say, that's where I'm going to delegate, or, he has a habit of doing that. Let me just realize that's just the way he is. That's okay. I'll get over it, right? Rather than being stuck on, the little things that are not really causing you, not bringing you happiness, not really serving you.
Yeah, I love everything that you're talking about. And for some reason, by pure accident, that's been happening in my life lately, where my husband's just all of a sudden started to do dishes and
nice.
A load of washing, hang the washing out. I mean, he's always done his washing, but he's starting to do mine and my son's now.
Nice.
I'm not too sure what's going on there. But I didn't do anything. Maybe I got cranky once. I don't know. But it takes a lot for me to get cranky. But yeah, and I do notice, like, just from what's been happening over the last few weeks and everything you're talking about now, we're just so much more relaxed, and our communication is better. I'm not running around like a headless chook, because I know if he comes home and I haven't done the dishes because I'm interviewing or I'm studying, he'll just do them when he gets home, and he'll not just think, she's had a busy day, so I'll just do them for her because she hasn't got home. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, so
it does make him look more attractive.
Right. And then you get more attracted to him because you're like, wow, he actually helped me out. Right. Yeah. And that was, rather than a man that comes home and says, why aren't the dishes done? Where's dinner? And, you're going to say, I don't need that. So that's
definitely not attractive.
Yeah. You're going to just say, make your own dinner at this point.
I'm just seeing if we've what are some of the main, like we've talked about, the relationship and keeping the communication. And I love that, because you're not saying someone that's come to you who's got a low libido, you're not saying, hey, here's a pill for that, or these are some medications that you can do. You're actually breaking it down and going, you know what, here's some steps that you can take to just improve your life on a whole, and then that will slowly start to come back. So let's talk about what are some of the main factors that will lower our libido, and, apart from children, because that's probably the main one.
Yeah. But before I do that, I want to say that what I do in my practice, and I'd be happy to send you the sheet, it's called the Wheel of Life, and you may have seen it. And it has a different wheel in the different parts of your life, and then you kind of rate how you feel that is going in your life. Yeah. And I love that sheet, because a lot of times women will look at, well, I'm doing great with, maybe my work and family and children, but I don't have any fun. And I'm not really taking care of my feeling about my spirituality. And, my home is not as organized as I want because I'm doing too many things. So it kind of gives a nice global view of what's happening in the life, because like you said, you can't just take a pill and say, oh, we're ready to go. Let's get this done. It's more like all of these factors are involved, and that's kind of in the wheel of life, and a nice way to visually see it on paper and be able to kind of see what your scale is there.
Yeah, I have used that tool that you're talking about, and I think probably a few months ago I used it, and it was all work. Like it was all work and study, and I was very unbalanced, and I think it's very confronting to see it to start with, but it's a very effective tool, I think, like you say, like to actually have it on paper and actually go, oh, okay.
Right. And it's not a judgment. It's not saying, oh gosh, you're not doing a good job. It's more saying, where do we want to make things better? Where can we make you happier? And it's not saying, gosh, you've done a bad job. And, sometimes people, that's not at all where we're coming from. We're coming from, where is it so imbalanced that it's causing a stressor for you? Yeah. And what's funny is I have it's a category called fun. And some women are like, what's fun? I don't have time for fun. I have no time for fun, and then personal growth. Well, what's personal growth? That would mean an art class or learning an instrument or doing something that you feel is fulfilling you. That's what that is. And that's where if women would do that for themselves, everyone would be happier. I mean, that's where they could just give themselves permission to do that. And literally, sometimes I take my little prescription pad and I write down 1 massage per week or yoga class. Or you're going to make a facial every 2 weeks. Yeah. Because
I wish we had more doctors like you over here.
I'm sorry?
I said, I wish we had more doctors like you over here.
I love Australia. I love Australia. I was in Melbourne and Sydney, and beautiful.
So your practice is in California, just to clarify.
I'm in San Diego, yeah. But I can do Skype and things for people too, interviews and stuff, consultations. Yeah. That is something. But so back to what you're saying, what are the factors that go into sex drive? This is what I thought was amazing, is there's a lot of factors, right? And so for women, I mentioned about the cycle changes, that is hormonal changes that are happening. So after a baby, that most women don't want to be having sex because it hurts because they're breastfeeding. There's reasons for that. And so the book kind of talks about why that happens. And so men don't think about, oh my gosh, all she cares about is the baby. No, she's actually breastfeeding and bonding with the baby. Prolactin's high, which is good for milk production, but definitely not good for vaginal walls. And so sex can be really painful. And that's why if you tell your partner, it's painful, and then you have the science behind it, they're going to understand like, oh, it's not because I'm doing something wrong, Well,
the baby's taking,
Yes, so the baby getting all the attention when the baby needs attention, but if he could understand that, it would make things so much easier. And sometimes it's just lack of education and lack of knowledge. And most, this is something your doctor always tells you. I have women that say, why does it hurt so much when I was doing babies? Why does it hurt so much when I try to have sex? And I then tell them why. And they're like, oh, so I'm not crazy and I'm not abnormal. And you're like, no, this is kind of your body saying you need a break because we don't want you to ovulate and have another baby right away. So it really makes some sense. The body really does things for a reason, right? And if you can listen to your body, it's a really good thing. Medications is a big category that we don't normally think about. And so like antidepressants are very high on the list of decreasing libido, antihistamines, certain antihypertensive medications, things that you don't really think about that much, like if you're having a
contraceptive pill, yeah?
Oh, the pill, it's an interesting thing. The pill can go either way because the pill can decrease the free testosterone because of there's a certain protein called the sex hormone binding globulin, and that binds free testosterone. So if you have less free testosterone, you normally have less libido. But some women, if they're on a birth control pill, they might have more drive because they don't worry about getting pregnant. Right. So it kind of depends on their perspective.
Psychology. That was something personally that I experienced, and when I went off it for a while, it was fantastic. I felt so free. Like I had all these feelings come rushing back, and then it was like, oh, I have to go back on it again. And it was, for me personally, it was very suppressive.
Yes. And that's when, there's a lot of ways now, birth control that we have out there that doesn't necessarily have to be both estrogen and progesterone. So it's mostly the estrogen component that's doing that. So like a progesterone-only pill or the IUD. So those will be less likely to cause decreased libido. And the IUD that doesn't have any hormones, also another option. Different other stressors or different things that lead to decreased libido. I think it's mostly the 24/7 of our lives And that goes back to what we talked about with, you just can't do it all. I mean, to think that you could be perfect in every category, it's just, you might as well just let it go. And believe me, I have a brain that wants to do everything perfectly all the time. And it's like, I got to let it go, say, you know what? So it wasn't a perfect, I play tennis. I love tennis. And I was just watching the Australian Open. I love, I have it on tape. So it's wonderful, Federer and Nadal. But so I sometimes don't serve as well as I want to serve. And the toss goes a little awry. And I'm like, gosh, you should be better at that. You've been doing this for so many years, and then I'm like, okay, that's not really helping me. Right. Yeah. So the self-talk that we do needs to be more of, gosh, that you really tried, that toss was a little off, but that's okay. Rather than taking the negative aspect. So yeah. So that brings up the whole thing about self-talk, which is really interesting too, because I really like affirmations. I'm really getting into affirmations.
I do too. I love them.
Of affirmations. And what's interesting is I'm working a lot on weight loss right now, because a lot of women in the new year, as well as men, we ate a little bit more in the holidays, and we didn't really, take care of our bodies as much as we'd like. So I'm doing a lot about weight loss and tips to help with losing some weight in the new year. So I put together a list of affirmations, and I'll be happy to share them with you.
Yes,
so that your moms can look at it, because it's just self-talk. I'm really realizing that I do so much better if I'm positive to myself than if I'm negative, really. And I know it sounds, again, so simple, but I mean, if I say, gosh, I did a really good job today. I did this. I went to the gym. That was great that you went to the gym.
Yes. It's like rewarding, appreciating the effort you put in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that brings me to the question about self-esteem, because, when new mums, you're pregnant for the first time or multiple times, it doesn't really matter. Your body changes every time with every pregnancy. And you get to a point sometimes where you don't even recognize yourself, and also being absorbed in the children. And then you sort of forget who you are. And at some time, your self-esteem can really take a knock, and that can affect that relationship too, like with being able to feel confident and feel, like you want to in the bedroom. So
absolutely. I mean, self-esteem, and you bring up a great point, because a lot of times we as women, we think our bodies have to be like perfect, or we might, we're not going to be toned. We have to look like the Vogue magazine. It's just not going to happen. And most of the men, they love you for you. They love your body no matter what shape, size it's in. They just want to be with you. So we put pressure on ourselves saying, oh no, we got to lose those 10 pounds, or, I have that little bit of a muffin top, and I'm not going to get undressed because I don't feel good about getting undressed in front of my husband because my body's not as good as it used to be. And it's kind of like, okay, if that's true, then let's make some ways that we can make this better. Let's go on a better, healthier diet, eating better foods, lifestyle changes. Let's try to go walking or to the gym, and then start appreciating your body again. And then the affirmations kind of come with that too. It's like, you have a great body, and your body is your palace, right? And how do you take care of your palace? And men in general, they want to be with your body, wherever it is.
That's the sad part, is that you usually have a partner who is extremely attracted to you.
Yes.
And yet you may feel this way and not be able to just get over that barrier to...
Right. Yeah. And that's where being honest with your partner, saying, I don't feel good right now. I just feel like I'm not toned. I'm getting a little flabby. And then, maybe go to the gym together or do some other things together like that. And then you start feeling a little more of that mojo coming back. You're like, my abs are getting a little better, and my legs are looking pretty good.
Yeah. It's just little things. It's just little things usually. It's not the whole. It's usually just one thing that you're not too comfortable with.
Like, I started doing weight training, which it wasn't really into that much, but I go to spinning and I do my tennis, but I didn't do like core work and abs. And I'm thinking, I probably need to do that now because it's a little bit coming on here. And I was just doing a little bit per week, a few times I go to the gym and do some certain exercises. And I'm noticing, wow, my posture's better. I'm feeling a little bit better. And like, just putting it into your routine to make it a habit, because then you're going to keep doing it, and then you're going to feel better and better.
Yeah. And obviously this physical aspect, I mean, we're talking about boosting your libido, but then you've also got this little word called stamina. Which, you know, we might get to that point where we've actually got the energy, we go for it, and then there's the stamina part where halfway through you're like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out soon. So,
Yeah.
you know, if that's just me, my energy just runs out, and it's like, sorry, this started off really good, but we're just going to.
Yeah, and that's where communication with your partner might come in, you know, say, you know what, I don't have much energy left, or, you know, say it in a way, that's an interesting, we have to figure out the best way to kind of verbalize that. But, you know, it's true. You're going to have different energy levels at different times. And, you know, telling your partner, you know, sometimes some women say, you know, they just want to get it over with, which is not really what I suggest, because I think the woman should be interested in partaking in it. But sometimes you may say you just really don't have much energy and you're just not going to put out as much, let's say. And your partner just has to understand that, you know, this isn't, and then maybe you wouldn't have sex that night or do anything. You know, there's other things to do besides necessary intercourse too, you know, playful things to do and stuff. So again, communication comes in there, but stamina, that's a great point.
That was yeah, definitely just something that just came to me. The whole follow through, and stamina was one of them. So now you talked about medications as well that can lower your libido. I'm guessing that there's if people have ailments and that type of thing, you know, back injuries, all these types of things that can you know, maybe put them off or affect their ability. Right.
Yeah, and the other thing that a lot of women can have an issue with is their thyroid. So it's really important to get your thyroid checked too, as we're getting older and stuff, that sometimes we might be more sluggish in the thyroid and our levels of energy will be a little lower. So that's one of the things to check. And then the medications, sometimes the partner, your husband, may not be able to have sex because he's on hypertensive medication. He has to take Cialis or Viagra, you know. Mm-hmm. And so that makes sometimes it a little bit harder, because you're kind of thinking, okay, well, if he can't do it, then I don't want to pressure him. So that's, again, where communication comes in, a lot about that. But let me just make sure I let you know about the ones that, so a lot of the antihypertensive, like the high blood pressure medications, the statins, so if you have high cholesterol, that can decrease. I'm not sure how much in Australia they use the medications for reflux, like the medications for gastric reflux.
Yeah, it has been. It's definitely has been something. I'm not too sure whether that's changed, but
yeah. So that actually is a medicine that, so like they have it here in the United States, different names of it, but that can actually decrease your sex drive. Okay. And then medications for a lot of neurological conditions, like you were mentioning there. So antihistamines, anti-epileptics, antidepressives. So like the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, Prozac, anticonvulsants, narcotics for pain control. So if someone's on pain medicine, that actually may be decreasing the sex drive too. So some of these you don't really think about, and so that's where it's really important when you go see your doctor and you discuss this, and hopefully they're willing, she is willing to discuss this, that they really look at the global picture. Like, how is your relationship? One woman asked me for testosterone cream to help increase your libido. And I said, okay, great. So, but I said, so how's your relationship with your husband? You know, she says, well, I really don't like him. I said, so why do you want me to give you testosterone? She says, well, I want to have more drive. I said, but if you don't like him and you don't want to be with him, why would I want to give you something that's going to make you do that? And she said, oh, that's a good point. So little things like that, like, and then say, why don't you like him? What has he done in the last, you know, and there's many things that a woman can list
that she hasn't forgotten.
Okay, now you gotta let them, you know, that's when a therapist might come in and say, okay, maybe some couples counseling might be good, because this stuff can be aired out and be taken care of. You don't have to carry this load of burden and all that stuff that you've been carrying about the resentment, you know? So.
Yeah. So what are some ways, when we were talking about self-esteem before, what are some ways that women can boost that, you know, apart from obviously going to the gym, and is there anything else that we can do to start sort of boosting our self-esteem to sort of get to that next stage, or for it to not be a barrier with our partners?
So that's a great point. I mean, I think we talked about affirmations, we talked about the gym, eating better foods, eating foods that make you feel more energy. So sometimes getting rid of the Diet Cokes, getting rid of the caffeine, because those foods can make you go up and come down. So it really makes you more kind of irritable and really more cranky. And most of the time we don't feel good about ourselves when we're kind of cranky and irritable. I think also not comparing yourself to others, which is hard. Because I go to this gym and there's a lot of really good looking women, and I'm kind of like, well, I don't have that kind of body. but I'm not that kind of person. So I'm like, I'm never going to be a size 2 or 4. I'm never going to be there. And that's okay. They're not probably as athletic I am in my way that I have things. So you kind of have to say, don't compare to others, and just kind of look at yourself and say, you know what, this is the body I have. If I want to change it, then let's do something. And then work with a trainer or nutritionist, but take action. Don't just sit there and wallow in it. And if you're doing really well with your body and you like it, great, you know. But I think most of us can always feel like we can improve. And then say, gosh, I'm making steps to improving. My body's feeling more healthy. I'm eating really nutritious foods. So that's where the affirmation list I send you might help out too.
Absolutely. And it's really just that investing in yourself, giving yourself that permission to look after yourself. And then all these things are going to gradually sort of get better, aren't they?
Well, it's kind of like your moms who are listening. They're taking such good care of their kids, which is fantastic. But are they taking that type of care for themselves? And I don't know how many would say they are. If they are, that's fantastic.
We're trying. We're always getting the message.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, why don't I let myself go do that? And I'm going to go take a break and have some fun over here. So really, really balance it, because your kids are going to like you for it. They're going to say, oh, mom's happy. She's so much better. She's not angry at us today. You know, she's not yelling at us about something. Because if you are actually giving yourself something back, you're going to be probably more likely to let things kind of roll off you a little bit easier, you know, not be as tight on a rope kind of thing and blasting out things to your kids.
Exactly. Yeah, and we don't feel good when we do that either. I mean, that is the worst feeling on earth when that happens.
It's not like trying to be irritable. It's just that you're like, everything's pissing you off, and you're like, why am I pissed that he did this and this, you know, and then the kids did this, and you're like, okay, I need to do something for myself. That's a trigger. That's the signal. Yeah. We need to put in some self-care. And that's where I have my patients list like 5 things that are self-care for them. And then we say, okay, let's get your schedule. Let's see where you're going to put those things. Because without those, you're not going to be happy. No one's going to be happy.
So even if you're super busy, really, you need to prioritize at least one thing that you can do for yourself, even if it means, you know, like you were saying, you know, one less sport or ballet class or of the week, you know, whatever it is, just to take that time for you.
Right. And some of it could be as simple as breathing. Like I have a 1-minute breathing exercise I share with my patients, in that you just take a deep breath in for like 5 seconds, and then you let it out for 5 seconds, and you do that for 6 times. Just that little bit. Like it could be in the car. Maybe you drop the kids off at school. Now it's quiet.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an hour massage, although I do want you to have an hour massage also. But just through the day, let it out. Just breathe and say, you know what, everything's good. And yes, I'm not going to need 5 things my kid's going to be involved in after school project. It's 1 thing, maybe 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you mentioned that word fun, and it came up for me actually on the weekend. We were just going for a drive and doing a few things, and I don't know, it got to be a bit of a hectic day, and I actually said to my husband, I'm like, do you think we'll ever have fun, like real fun, like at some stage? You know, like we're pretty honest with each other, you know, we can be very, very direct. It doesn't always work out for the best, but I think overall it's probably the best policy. But yeah, you really, as parents, I mean, I'm talking about the man and the woman, as parents, it's really difficult to allow yourself to have those fun times. Like there's always so much to do, the kids to look after. You take the kids to the park, they're having fun. You take them to all these different activities. Where do we find our fun?
That's a great point. And it really is, what brings you happiness? Like what is fun to you? For some, it might be cooking together in the kitchen. That might be kind of fun. It might be going for a walk. It might be playing a board game. It could be going to the gym together. I mean, to me, fun is when I don't have to think about anything. Like I can just do something and not have to worry about what I have to do next. It's kind of like, you know, I just want to go out there and just take a walk and just look at the beach, you know, or breathe. And I just don't, and that to me is kind of fun. Also, I think levity is something like comedy. We need to have a little more like humor in our lives.
Yeah, laughter is such a big thing.
Serious. We're so serious. And we're like, oh my God, there's so much I have to do. And you're kind of like, you know what, lighten up just a little bit, because you know, this is stressful, but is it worth that much of stress on your body? You know? And so that's, again, looking at your life, that whole wheel we were saying, and just saying, you know, what am I doing for myself for growth, my personal growth? And some women say, well, my kids are really the most important. And I said, well, you know, what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to the kids when you can't take care of yourself? Because no one is. Because I don't think it seems like a lot of people are taking care of you right now, especially you, right? Especially ourselves. We are the worst to ourselves sometimes because as critics. And so then you need permission. You give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do. And because you need that, you're going to die without that kind of, it's kind of like going to a well and there's no water left, right? You got to fill that well so that you can dip in and get some water sometimes. But if the well is completely dry, you know what? You're not going to have any energy to be able to do the things you want to do and really have a happy, fun life. I mean, have some fun. Like you said. I think, what did he say when you said that question to him?
He just said, yes, of course. Of course, sometime, you know, but it's, I think he relies heavily, and as I would say a lot of males in a relationship do, rely heavily on the female to go and organize all these things, which is one extra thing we have to do, right? So if we don't get round to that, then we're also missing out on that as well. So it's about maybe, as you say, that delegation.
Right, and maybe he, your partner, husband, can say, okay, I'm going to plan next weekend and we're going to get a babysitter, so we're going to go out and do something fun. What would you like to do? Then you say, whatever you think might be fun to do. It might be, I don't know, what would be fun for you, Susie? What would you?
Well, I think we've actually had a discussion about this, and I did say to him, you know, maybe sometimes we choose what you want to do. Like he likes to go out to the river. He likes to go driving and exploring, and we'll go out to the river and, you know, walk through bush and snakes and all that sort of stuff. That's not exactly my idea of fun all the time.
Right.
But if he took me out to breakfast, like I love going out for breakfast in the mornings. Like,
nice.
Best. I don't have to cook it, so I can go out, and if it's an ocean view, breakfast, conversation is a really big one for me, and I have expressed this to him, so it's something that we're definitely working on.
Right, so it's really connecting. It's connecting with your partner, and like just breakfast. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big thing.
No,
you can say, let's go to breakfast, and then he can make the reservation, and then he just give him some things to do, and then if you give him suggestions, normally they're going to pick up on it, and hopefully, and if not, make the reservation, then see how much fun you have then, and say, God, I really love doing this, honey. Maybe we'll do this, every weekend on a Sunday morning or something, because I really enjoy this. This is fun to me. I really feel good about this.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic idea, and it's definitely something that I want to incorporate more of. I've been missing it. I do love going to the park as well, but
if you can't be happy per day, if you're like, this is what I think we do sometimes. We keep deferring our happiness. It's like, okay, but when the kids are 6 or 10 or they go to college or whatever, it's like this delayed gratification. And it's like, okay, so then what happens? You need to live every day and do something fun, something good for you, because, depriving yourself is only going to make you more stressed out. And that's why I make the prescriptions and write them out for people saying massage or have some fun. Because they're like, oh my God, now I really have to do it because my doctor gave me this. But it's basic things that we just don't give ourselves, and we need to.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, we have conversations where we just talk about our twilight years. It's like, that's very sad. We're still very young. We can have so much fun now.
Right.
Yeah. Let's not wait till then.
Yeah. And don't worry about, oh gosh, I got to put all this money toward the 401k and our retirement and da-da-da. It's like, you know what? Yes, that's true. You put a percentage, but you also have a bucket for fun and vacation. There's got to be some time and money that goes to that bucket. Because if you're just going to put it to the kids and their college and the 401k, no, you got to live for today, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not trying to be dismal. I'm just saying that's kind of, every day is a masterpiece.
Absolutely. Now, you were talking about your next project, which is Amazing Over 40. How can people sort of connect with that or learn more about that?
Yeah, probably the best thing to do is to go to my website, which is my drdianahoppe.com. So it's www.dr, DIANAHOPPE.com. And because right now I actually have a program up, and I'm trying to see if I can send you the link for that, for the Amazing Over 40 Transformation Program. I'm kind of expanding it and making the site a little bit more user-friendly. So I can give you that link for those who want to do the modules, which it talks a lot about perimenopause, menopause. So I'm not sure if that's the population with your moms are in, but it's good. Yeah. It's really good information.
Yeah, well, we definitely have younger and older mums in our group, so it could be definitely something that someone's interested in. And how do we get hold of your book?
I'll send you the link for that too.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. So, and what we'll do is we'll put all that with this video, and so that the mums can get easy access to it all. So I just want to give you a huge, huge thank you for making the time to chat with us and being a part of our Study Mum community today.
And I want to come visit you in Australia.
Oh, please do. Please do. Bring your prescription pad for those facials.
I'll bring the pads, and then we're just going to be making these little fun items for everyone to do. Because mums deserve it.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Susie.